Number 10, Kepler 1649c. Mainstream science sold you a comforting lie. They called it Earth 2.0, a twin orbiting a quiet red dwarf star just 300 light years away. The reality is far more catastrophic. According to NASA data, young M-dwarf stars are not peaceful sanctuaries. They are cosmic radiation slaughterhouses. Because its habitable zone is pulled in incredibly tight, Kepler 1649c sits directly in the crosshairs of violent ultraviolet and X-ray flares. Imagine the Earth as a single, fragile grain of sand. Now, imagine holding an industrial blowtorch less than an inch away from it. That is what a red dwarf flare does to a planetary atmosphere. It forcefully strips the air away, instantly unzipping the DNA of any potential biology before life can even spark. What you are looking at isn't a future home. It is a sterile, irradiated graveyard. If our perfect twin was annihilated before it even took its first breath, what makes you think we are safe? Before we look at the next supposed safe haven, we need to dismantle the biggest lie you have been told, the illusion of cosmic stability. We look up at the night sky and project our own desperate need for meaning onto the stars. We assume the physical laws protecting us are absolute and eternal. They aren't. What we call the laws of physics are nothing more than temporary, local weather conditions in an otherwise chaotic and merciless universe. When astronomers find a planet with an 8 billion year lifespan, they arrogantly frame it as a victory. They assume that if a world exists twice as long as our solar system, it must be an indestructible cradle for life. Mathematics doesn't care about our optimism. In an infinitely expanding void, stability is a mathematical anomaly. It is a metastable state waiting to collapse. A star burning for 100 billion years doesn't guarantee a thriving biosphere. It simply provides a 100 billion year window for a catastrophic event to sweep through. Humanity is not the pinnacle of evolution. We are a biological glitch, a localized error in the natural order of entropy. Our planet hasn't survived because it sits in a perfect location. It has survived simply because the cosmic wrecking ball hasn't swung through our specific coordinate yet. Consider the unfathomable scale of time. The universe is approximately 13.8 billion years old. If you took that entire 13.8 billion year timeline and compressed it into a single 24-hour day, all of recorded human history, every empire, every war, every technological leap would occupy less than the final 2 seconds. Your life, your history, your entire species is a momentary flash in an abyssal dark. And what protects this fleeting existence? We like to imagine Earth's atmosphere as a thick, impenetrable fortress wall. Let's calculate the reality. If you were to shrink the Earth down to the size of a standard, polished bowling ball, the atmosphere keeping you alive right now wouldn't even be the thickness of a coat of paint. It would be as thin and fragile as the fleeting layer of mist left behind when you breathe on that bowling ball's surface. A single, unthinking sneeze from the cosmos, a stray burst of radiation, or a magnetic fluctuation could wipe that mist away in a fraction of a millisecond. The laws of physics you trust are not universal constants. They are merely the calm eye of a hurricane, and the storm is always moving. So, before we count down the rest of the universe's supposed safe havens, remember this. The universe is perfectly sterile. It is not waiting to welcome us. It is waiting to correct the error of our existence. Number 9, Ross 1, 28b, and number 8, Luton B. Mainstream media loves the term Super Earth. They paint a picture of lush, oversized worlds orbiting calm ancient stars. But the habitable zone of a red dwarf is a gravitational trap. Because these stars are so incredibly dim, a planet must orbit extremely close just to stay warm. And at that proximity, the gravitational pull of the host star acts like a mechanical vice. It forces the planet into a permanent state of tidal locking. The planet does not spin freely. One hemisphere is locked in place, staring permanently at the unblinking eye of its sun. The other half is plunged into an eternal, abyssal night. Astrobiologists often desperately cling to the idea of the Terminator line, the narrow ring of perpetual twilight separating the two halves. They hope life could hide in this sliver of shadow. But the atmospheric physics are utterly incoherent. According to research published in Nature Astronomy, the climate dynamics of these tidally locked exoplanets do not allow for a peaceful sunset. The extreme temperature gradient between the permanent boiling day and the frozen night creates a planet-wide thermodynamic engine. The result is a perpetual, supersonic hurricane tearing across the twilight boundary. Imagine a Category 5 storm, but the winds are moving at the speed of a commercial airliner, endlessly scraping across a barren, rocky wasteland. There is no shelter. Let's calculate exactly what happens if you take a single step past that storm onto the dark side of one of these supposed havens. Without the distribution of sunlight, the temperature plummets straight toward absolute zero, resting near minus 459 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 273.15 degrees Celsius. This is the point where all molecular motion stops. If a human body were exposed to this environment, hypothermia wouldn't even have time to register in your brain. Humans are mostly water. At that extreme lower limit, the water inside your cells instantly crystallizes into microscopic, jagged ice spikes. Your cell membranes violently rupture. You do not simply freeze. At a biological level, your cellular structure is shattered like cheap glass in a fraction of a second. And if you take a step back into the light, the eternal, radiating heat of the day side boils the fluids right out of your ruptured tissue. These are not worlds waiting to be colonized. They are sterile, two-faced prisons perfectly designed to execute any biological glitch foolish enough to land on them. Number 7, Teegarden Star B, and number 6, LP899c. Mainstream astrobiology uses a comforting metric called the Earth Similarity Index. Teegarden Star B scores a 0.95, tying for the highest rating of any known exoplanet. LP899c boasts a radius 37% larger than our planet. Optimists look at this geometry and imagine a sprawling paradise. They see endless archipelagos and vast continents, assuming more space simply provides a grander canvas for life to flourish. They are ignoring the catastrophic reality of mass. A 37% increase in radius translates to an unfathomable spike in planetary volume and gravitational pull. According to planetary atmospheric models verified by the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, planets in this extreme weight class do not hold thin, breathable skies. Their immense gravity acts as an indiscriminate cosmic vacuum, hoarding a suffocating envelope of heavy, primordial gases. This atmosphere becomes so violently compressed that visible light from the host star cannot even penetrate it. If you stood on the surface, you would not see an alien jungle. You would be standing in a pitch-black, pressurized purgatory, but the darkness is the least of your concerns. Let us apply the mathematics of this gravity to the fragile engineering of the human body. On a super-Earth with nearly twice our gravity, a 180-pound human instantly feels like they have another grown adult permanently strapped to their spine. Your skeletal framework begins to microfracture under its own weight. But your bones are not what fails first. Gravity does not just pull you down, it will physically strangle your cardiovascular system. Your heart is a delicate mechanical pump calibrated for exactly 1 G. Under this extreme downward force, it completely lacks the kinetic power required to push heavy, iron-rich blood vertically up your neck. Your brain is instantly starved of oxygen. Based on established human biological limits, cerebral hypoxia sets in with terrifying speed. Total unconsciousness occurs in exactly 15 seconds. You collapse, pinned to the alien dirt by an invisible, unbreakable weight. These massive super-Earths are not an expanding frontier for humanity. They are planetary-scale gravity traps, perfectly engineered to ensure that any complex organism is crushed before it can even look up at the starless sky. Number 5, Kepler-69c. And number 4, KOI 5554.01. Astrobiologists love to romanticize the concept of water worlds. They imagine endless, tranquil oceans spanning the entire globe, acting as a warm, protective incubator for aquatic life. They are projecting their own earthly comfort into the void. The reality is that these massive, deep ocean planets are not pelagic sanctuaries. They are planetary-scale hydraulic presses. When an ocean is hundreds of miles deep, the fundamental physics of water begin to weaponize. At the bottom of Earth's Mariana Trench, the pressure reaches roughly 1,000 atmospheres. On a true water world, the pressure at the abyssal floor is unfathomable, exceeding hundreds of thousands of atmospheres. This extreme, crushing weight forces the liquid water at the bottom to snap into an exotic, pressurized solid state known as Ice 7. This high-pressure ice forms a permanent, impenetrable barrier between the ocean and the mineral-rich rocky core. It completely cuts off the hydrothermal vents. Without that chemical engine, the planet literally devours its own ability to nurture life, starving the ocean of the basic building blocks of biology. Let us apply that unfathomable pressure to the fragile architecture of the human body. If you were instantly dropped to the bottom of this alien abyss, you would not have the luxury of drowning. Under that colossal weight, your ribcage and skull would be violently crushed to the thickness of a single sheet of paper in a fraction of a millisecond. There are no majestic creatures swimming in that pitch-black expanse. There is only a suffocating, silent tomb crushed under the weight of its own dead oceans. Number 3, KOI 5715.01, and number 2, Kepler 1126b. Mainstream science desperately wants you to believe in the Goldilocks myth. These two worlds orbit K-type orange dwarfs, stars that supposedly offer the perfect, gentle light for biology to thrive over tens of billions of years. Because of their massive gravity, these super-Earths clutch onto incredibly thick, heavy atmospheres. Optimists look at this data and hallucinate a global, hyperproductive jungle, imagining a planet-wide Amazon basin completely free of freezing wastelands. They are fundamentally ignoring the terrifying mechanics of thermodynamics. That thick, perfect atmosphere is not a protective blanket. It is a metastable trap. According to climate modeling and orbital dynamics data from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the chemical equilibrium on these heavyweight worlds is unbelievably fragile. Because the atmosphere traps heat so aggressively, the planetary margin for error is effectively zero. Even a microscopic fluctuation in the orange dwarf's stellar output or a fractional shift in the planet's orbital path completely shatters the balance. The planet does not slowly warm up. It violently triggers a runaway greenhouse effect. Any surface water flashes into steam, pumping unimaginable volumes of water vapor into the sky, which only traps more heat in a relentless, inescapable feedback loop. The lush, global jungle is nothing more than a planetary oven preheating itself. Let us apply this runaway physics to the frail limits of human biology. As the surface temperature spikes, your body attempts to cool itself, but the oppressive, steam-saturated atmosphere makes thermal regulation mathematically impossible. You begin to suffocate in the open air. When the ambient temperature crosses exactly 107.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 42 degrees Celsius, a catastrophic biological failure initiates deep inside your skull. The proteins inside your brain begin to denature. They physically unravel, rapidly losing their three-dimensional structure. Your neural pathways disintegrate at a molecular level. The universe does not need a dramatic asteroid impact or a burst of radiation to erase you. It simply turns up the thermostat, melting your cellular architecture and boiling your consciousness away before you can even comprehend that your tropical paradise has become an eye incinerator. These worlds are not permanent cradles for biology. They are simply waiting for the inevitable chemical trigger to wipe the slate clean. We have navigated the physical horrors of these supposed sanctuaries, but the mystery deepens when the mathematics of our reality collapse into pure existential dread. Consider the primordial age of the super-habitable candidates we just analyzed. Planets like KOI 5715.01 and Teegarden Star B are billions of years older than Earth. If they are truly the mathematical gold standard for life, biology should have sparked in their oceans eons before our solar system even formed. If the evolutionary timeline held true, civilizations on those worlds would have had a 4 billion year head start on humanity. By all logical metrics, the sky above us should be glowing with the exhaust of their interstellar empires. But when we point our most sensitive instruments into the deep black, what do we find? According to probabilistic models published in the Astrophysical Journal, the sheer volume of these ancient ideal planets should guarantee a galaxy saturated with detectable technosignatures. Instead, we are met with a deafening silence. There are no radio signals. There are no megastructures. There is only a vast, infinitely sterile void. This glaring absence brings us to the most horrifying concept in astrophysics, the Great Filter. The Great Filter proposes that somewhere along the evolutionary timeline, there is an insurmountable wall, a catastrophic barrier of annihilation that stops every single species from expanding across the stars. If those ancient, mathematically perfect worlds are completely dead, it means the filter is not behind us. It is waiting in front of us. Our human arrogance convinces us that our technology will be our salvation. We build rockets and radar systems, believing we can outsmart the cosmic indifference that governs this universe. But if civilizations with billions of years of uninterrupted progress were completely erased from existence, what chance does a biological glitch like humanity have? We are not bold explorers standing on the shores of a cosmic ocean. We are sitting ducks trapped in a metastable enclosure, entirely at the mercy of forces we cannot even detect. Searching for life out there is like dropping a needle into the Pacific Ocean, waiting a decade, and hoping a fish happens to hand it back to you. Except in this ocean, all the fish are already dead. There is no technological solution to this incoherent paradox. There is no escape pod. We stare at these distant exoplanets, desperately hoping to find a backup home. We are too blind to realize we are simply looking at the empty graves of those who failed the test before us. Number 1. Kepler 442b. If you ask an astrobiologist to build the perfect planetary sanctuary using pure mathematics, their equations will output Kepler 442b. Located 1,200 light-years away, this world is universally hailed as the absolute gold standard for habitability. It orbits a highly stable K-type orange dwarf, and it possesses the precise super-Earth mass required to maintain billions of years of vigorous plate tectonics. In theoretical models, its physical parameters actually outscore Earth. Mainstream science desperately points to it and calls it an Earth upgrade. But mathematics does not possess empathy. It does not care about our survival. Kepler 442b might be the ultimate synthesis of physical perfection, but what does that perfection actually mean in a universe governed entirely by cosmic indifference? It means absolutely nothing. Even the most mathematically flawless planet is still inextricably bound to the merciless laws of entropy. In the grand, abyssal scale of the cosmos, a perfect world is nothing more than a temporary arrangement of primordial dust motes. If you were to somehow cross the infinite void and stand on its surface, bathed in the gentle orange glow of its ancient star, you would not feel the triumph of human expansion. You would feel the crushing, undeniable weight of your own absolute insignificance. You would realize that all of human history, our empires, our technologies, our desperate need to matter, is just a single, meaningless spark in a dark room that has already been forgotten. Kepler 442b is not a pristine colony waiting for our arrival. It is a magnificent, sterile tombstone, slowly drifting in the dark toward the inevitable heat death of the universe. We stare through our telescopes at these distant, super-habitable worlds, arrogant enough to believe the cosmos created them for us. We convince ourselves that humanity is destined to conquer the stars. But the universe did not design these planets as our future homes. It simply created empty space and is passively waiting for us to extinguish ourselves. We are looking for neighbors, but we might only find their graves. Thank you for watching and sticking till the end. We've got plenty more videos coming in the future. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss them. See you in the next one.